JavaScript arrays. And in our previous video, we've seen multiple single variable declaration. For example, what we have on the screen. Let me click on this one real quick. So we are dealing with arrays here. So for example, if we have let colors is equal to red, then we say document.write colors. Then we have red showing in here. So this is a single variable declaration. But if we want to convert this into an array, this is going to be inside a square bracket and then with other values added to it. So for example, we can have red, then we have another open and close. Probably we have green here, then we can add another one. For example, we can have blue in here. Okay, so this automatically turns into arrays. Array simply means we have more than one of what value inside our variable. So our variable here is colors, but have variety of colors in here, so different colors. And we can have another example. Let's say we have another array of fruits, and fruit will have the same square brackets, and in here we can have different kinds of fruit. For example, we say we have apple here, and then we can have, let's say we have bananas here, and then we can have a mango here. Okay, so this is two array. We have array 1, which is colors, and array 2, which is fruit, and we can easily print it out using the name of the variable. Let me add a space here or a break there. Let me do a break. So br break. Let me see, make sure this is in quotes here. Okay, and then end this. Then I can print the second one as well, which is fruit, and I'll call the variable fruit. Okay, so now let's display this on the screen. Now we have red, green, blue, apple, mango, banana, mango. So this is how we actually declare variables, array variables inside JavaScript. And we can have a lot of ways which we can manipulate these variables. Because it's an array, we can tag its indexes to it. So for example, red is on index 0, green is on index 1, and blue is on index 2. The same thing applies to this. So let's say if I want to grab just one value inside this array, I can grab any of them by using its index. For example, if I want to grab color blue inside a color array, I can simply use the square bracket, and then I'll grab blue using the index of 3, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, so it's gonna be 2 here. Then fruit, I can say I want to grab mangoes, or let me grab banana because it's in the middle, so we know the differences I'm talking about here. So I'm grabbing banana, which is gonna be 1 because this apple is 0, this is 1, and that is 2. So let me save this. Good. So I grab blue, which is 3, and banana, which is 2 here. So what if I use 0 here? What happens if I use 0 here? Since it's an array, it has an index to red. So this is how we can manipulate arrays, variable arrays we do have. And on this same array, we can perform what we call the dot length to see the length of value we have in this array. So for example, if I do colors.length, I can easily know the length there, which means 3. So in the array we have how many values? We have 3 values in there. And with this, we can simply iterate this whole, we can iterate what is in the array here. So we can do what we call iterate. So means we can run over and over with values using a plus plus sign to do that. So for example, let's say we only have fruit, and then we want to do the iterations on it. We can simply do fruit. Let me use a simple if. Use a for loop here. I was saying if, but we use a for loop for the iteration. So let's say we have for let I be equal to 0, and then that is we initialize I to 0. Then we have I is let's say I is less than fruit dot length, and if it's less than fruit dot length, then we should iterate I using the plus plus. And next, let's put this inside. Let's put this one inside a curly bracket, and we say document.write. Then in here, instead to do, we do I here. Okay, so what we're doing is we want to display apple, banana, mangoes, but first we were only grabbing the index of it, which is grabbing 0, 1, 2. But this time around we are using the for to iterate everything inside this variable, the variable for this array we have here. So for if I is equal to 0 and I is less than fruit dot this length, then add this and this onto it, and then display on the screen. So let me save this, then we see what we got. So we have apple, banana, and then mango coming out, but we're not using the indexes, but we are using a simple for loop in order to iterate through the whole, a simple for loop to iterate through the whole, the whole array. But instead to use this let I is equal to 0, I less than fruit dot length, and I plus plus, we can simply use another method, which is for example, we can clear off this, then we'll say let fruit of fruit. Another simple way of doing it, instead to use the I plus plus, let fruit of fruit. And this one is also still gonna iterate all the elements we have there. Let me see. I have the I here. I need to take the I off because we use it for the first logic. So this needs to print out fruit. No, we will do fruit of fruit. So this will be like a storage, then it will be counting off fruit, which is this, and then we counting these values, and then we're printing here. So we need to use this one here. So this one serves as a variable here. I was doing fruit of fruit, which is wrong. So this one is apple, banana, and mango, just like using the I is equal to 0, I is less than fruit or length, then we do the I plus plus. We can simply do let fruit of fruit, then we'll print out this fruit here, and then this will go in here and then add this one. So it just works like just a plus plus way. You see, we're using fruit here. We can simply use I like just we use for the iteration. So this is just like defining a variable there. You can use different alphabet for that, and you can also use different words for that. So if I use I, it's gonna work the same as the fruit we get there. So it's not specific to the variable, but you can define this and then use it here. But one of the interesting things with arrays is also that you can actually push different values to it, because this is an array and you can use this push on it. For example, if we have fruit and we want to add other fruit, we can simply do fruit dot push. So push and push will help us to add another fruit to it. So if we say papaya, okay, so this will make the array 4 instead of 3 as we know now here. So I add it to it like this, and then I end it here. So if I do let I of fruit, we're gonna get 1 2 3 4 because we have pushed another one inside, so we have the papaya at the side. And if we do dot length for the I, it should give us the number of values inside the array, which is 1 2 3 4. Because of this one, so you see this just iterating for us, but I can simply tick off this, and then it should give us 4 on the screen. So let's see it. Let me see, what did I do wrong? Oh, I'm still using the I instead. I need to use fruit. So fruits dot length. Okay, we should have 4 here. All right, so we got 4 on the screen. Now let's see if we want to now we know how to add element to red behind it, and we can do dot right on it, and we can do other options like unshift. Unshift will also simply rearrange or add a value to it right in front. So this the push added to the end of it, but we can do unshift so that it adds to the front of this. So for example, when we display this, it gives us papaya as last. But what if we do unshift? Unshift will give us papaya to be the first on the list, and that is something you can use to manipulate arrays a lot. So you can do front and then you can do back. But can we use both of them? Yes, we can have front and back at the same time. So we can have the push here by adding to the array, and then we can say probably we are adding other things like it can be, we can add other stuff to it. For example, let's say we get P here, then we get tiger, not here, and then let's say we got orange here, then we get another one like okay. So we can get all these ones here, and this one is going to go at the beginning of it, and this one is going to go at the end of it. So now we've increased the array by using that. So we have that here, and then that triggers there. So this is how we can easily manipulate array in most of our codes. But what if we want to remove an element from our array? Very simple. Now if I take this one here, let me remove one of this, and this one we know it already adds to it, but let's say for the default one we already have this, we don't have this anymore. Now we can simply remove a value from this array like apple, banana, mango. We can simply remove it by applying what we call the pop to arrays. First, for example, let's say we have colors that let's say we have pop here. Let's see, so it pops up and then takes off what? The mango. So now we have how many values left? We have only 2 left. So we can use the pop and then take off the mango. What if we want to take off the apple? We can simply use a shift. That one will also remove the first one for us. Let's shift. I need to add T here. I need to remove the first one. Now we have banana and mango. But if we have both shift and pop, then we're gonna have just the middle one. So that is how we manipulate the arrays inside our code. Okay, so we can also display values using the indexes. So indices, and then we can also use slide and splice in here as well. So for example, we practiced this splice in our previous videos, and if we have colors that we already have, and let's say we have another variable called remove, and then it's equal to our fruit dot. Let's use the splice dot splice, and then we call the number 0 and then 0 and 1. Great. So now if I print the variable remove with our splice on it, looking at the remove side, let's look at another joint arrays. So let's look at how we can join arrays. So let's say join or element into a string. So we want to join all element in an array into a string. So let's look at example. Let's pick the same colors we were using before. So we have colors, and then we say the colors is equal to, first we'll have red, and then next we'll have blue, next we'll have, let's have for example, let's have green in here. Okay, so we have this set. Now we want to apply the join function on this color that is already. So for document.write, that's where we'll have the join work in here. So we call colors, then we do dot join. Okay, so what happens is that first, when we display the value, for example, let's display this one. When we display the value, we have the commas showing in between these values we have. But when we use the join, we can simply add either spacing to it, or we can add a dash, or we can change the symbols inside what we want to display. So let's say, let me add break here. And with this break, we're gonna have another way of displaying all the values in the array by using a space in here. So that means when we print this on the second one, here there is no space, there's nothing in there, so everything is joining because I've used the open quotes, and this open quote does not add anything to it. So when we want to add something like a dash, we can simply add a dash in here. With the joining we have, then the dash appears inside the values in the array. So for example, if we want to use a comma, then we give a little bit of space in here. That is going to also apply to, it's going to apply to what we have. Let me do a comma and then a space. Okay, then let me reload it. You see, the first one has only commas but without a space, because we are just calling the join function here, but we are not applying anything inside a round bracket. But you see here, we apply the comma and then a space to it, and it affects the values which is printing on the screen. So that is how we can, use the join function. Let's look at the portion side where we can also apply the slice method. So for example, if we have these same colors here, can add more to it. Let's say purple. Okay, so now we have purple, and we can have a simple variable where we'll call the colors, let's say colors array. Okay, and this will be equal to this variable, which is the colors. Then so we'll have colors dot slice. So for the slice, we can have 1 and then 3. So let's see what will display. Document dot dot, this one is dot. So let's call this variable, which is color array. Okay, so we perform slides on it, and slides is giving us the blue and green because we're calling 1 and the third number. 1, 2, 3. It cuts off this, then it shows this 1. It cuts off this, then it shows this. So this is how we apply slides on JavaScript arrays. So we can have so many ways of manipulating a slide, as we learned before. Applying it on strings. This we applying it on arrays. So we can have 2, and 2 will help us slide only 2. We can have -2, for example, and we still have green and purple for -2 because not really that much is happening. Then we have 1. So let me do a 2 and a -1. Let's see what happens. A 2 and then a -1. We're gonna get green, which means it's taking this one, 1, 2, a -1 taking this, and then we to be left with this. So we can apply slice also on our array. So let's say we have 2 variables, like for example pet word, and then we create an array by combining the pet and then the array what, and then the array for words. So we can do all of them, we can just combine all of them inside a a single variable, and then we call the variable as name. So for example, we can use the merge array. So if let's say we have building, so each building will be assigned to a color. So we say studio, then we say apartment, then we say house, and then probably we'll say store. Okay, so with this one we can create a new array by combining both the colors and build into one. So to do that, we can have something like this. We can have colors and building, and for colors and building we could call first one, which is colors. We already have it here. Then we can add what we call the concat. So concat is like concatenation, so it's just like adding the whole thing. But in here we need to type the variable which holds those arrays we want to add, which is build. So that means colors dot add build to it. Then we have to print this variable here, which is colors build, and colors build will display both of this on the screen. So we have all merged together, which is really useful when you want to merge one, two or more arrays inside your program. So we can always merge, and we can do more than one. For example, if I copy and paste this one here, I need to terminate this one, and then I say maybe bu, which is the variable, and then I include the bu here inside the method. Then I save. Now you see it repeats all the three on the screen, and that is really useful in some projects. But let's look at search. So search an array for a specific value. Let's say we want to just search. What we'll do is we need to use the index of when we want to search a value. So for example, if we have, let's say we have only one array, with the one array we're gonna do document.write colors. So and then the colors dot what index of. So this index of will help us search any value we want, which can be blue, whatever. So let's say we want to do blue here. So this one searches and then print it what it index for us. So now we have blue to be 1 because this is 0, 2, 3 and all that, and we can print other indexes based on which value we have in here. Then we're gonna have that 3. So we have red, blue, and then what, and then green. So this is another way of searching through arrays. So let's say we want to search for a specific value beyond a certain index. So for example, we have a different array, and that array will have basically numbers. Let's say we have 1, 0 3 1. Then we'll add a string, just say false. Then we'll add 5, we'll add 1, we'll add 4, and then 7. Okay, then we want to search forward by starting from an index, but what we have to do is to use the same document.write, then we call the variable which is array, then we do index of what. For example, let's do 1 and 2, index of 1 and 2. We reload and then we get 3 print out. So index of 1 and then 2. Then we go to a different one. Let's say we want to print the last one. Last index of. We get 0 because we are printing the last index of this one and here. So from this 1 2, it's gonna display a 0 for us because we are using the last index of. So this, the first one we did only the beginning, which is clearing this, and then it printed the 3 for us. The other one prints the last of it, which is 0 for us. So next, let's move to searching with just, searching which include a certain value. So find whether a value is inside this array. So for example, you want to do array.include, means if the value is included in there, then it's gonna print out well. So let's say include, and we want to include search including 1, then we'll see what print here. So that means the include we are doing is true because it has a value which is 1. What if we type a value which is not in there, for example 6, and then we print? It should give us the opposite, which is false. And let's see if we have value 1 and 2 in there. Yes, it's true because we have both values showing up there. So that is how we do, search through some elements using specific values we assign here. Okay, so what if we want to search an array based on a certain condition? So searching based on conditions. Okay, so in here we can have these values up there, then we can have a simple condition, and if the condition is true and everything is right, then it will print something on the screen. So let's say we have something like result of our condition. So result is just a variable. Then we have array.find. So we're finding a specific value using our condition when it passes. So we say function, and inside we have elements. So let me go element, and for that we need to return our function is inside. Okay, so we said find element, so we're gonna return a specific element, but this element should be greater than 4. Okay, so when we print result here, when we print result, if there's anything in here or any value in this array which satisfy this condition, element greater than 4, then it's gonna print that element on the screen. So let's see what happens here. It's 5, because 5 actually is less than a 4, so it's gonna print. But let's say if element is less than a 4, the first we did greater than a 4, which was 5. This one is less than, so less than will print what? 0 for us, as it fulfills what we have in the condition. So let's say we want to search an array based on a certain condition, and then we still find the index of that value. So one, we will have it check the condition and then now send us the index as a feedback. So what we have to do is to use the method find index here, and it will return 0 because 1 here have an index of 0. So that is how this actually works. So let's say we want to use element is greater than 4, and let's see the index. The index is 5. 1 2 3 4 5 0 1 2 3 4 5. So we got it here. So this is how to print the index of a particular search number we have in JavaScript. Sorting arrays. So we've looked at more of arrays and manipulation. So let's begin with how to sort arrays in JavaScript. So let's start with our favorite variable fruit, and let's have our array here. So the first one will be banana, then the next one will be orange, and then let's add another one to it, another one to the array. So let's say we're gonna have apple. So should I add, let me add apple to it. Okay, so now let's try the sorting method on this. So let's say we have another variable for the sorted, and we assign this to the variable which is fruit.sort, and this is the method for sorting an array. So then we have to first print. So first we're gonna print the unsorted and then the sorted one. So document dot write, then we print the first one, which is the sorted one first. No, let's do the unsorted one first. So this one here, then let me add some space in there, which is going to move to next line. And now let's print the sorted one. So I'll call the sorted variable here. Okay, now we refresh. You see the first one, we have apple. Let me see. Orange. Oh, let me see. No, we are printing the sorted. I'm trying to print the unsorted and then the sorted one. So the first one, let me just ignore this first. So if we print the first one, it gives us banana and then orange and then apple and papaya. So that means it's giving us the default arrangement of the array. But if we always want to make sure it's been sorted out, then we need to use the sorting method, which is the let sorted is equal to fruit dot sort. Then we check that one out. So we have apple, banana, and papaya. So all of them is now sorted. Yeah, but when I printed the fruit, we have already applied a sort to the fruit itself. So technically this variable and that variable has already been sorted inside this one. So that is why it all showed like with the sorted values. Okay, so let's look at reversing the order of array. So instead to use the sorting, we use the reverse method. So how to reverse this one? So for example, we can have this, or we can change it to any other value we want, but let's just use that same let's use the same variables and then array values. Then let's say this one sorted, or instead to get to know it well, let's use the reverse variable. So reversed, so we'll say fruit dot sort, instead dot sort is gonna be fruit dot reverse. So then we can print this out, which is already printing here. No, we need to print this one out here. So this is how we apply the reverse method in JavaScript array. So reverse simply means it's gonna move the papaya, apple, orange, and then the banana. But when you check the sorted one, it was actually following it in alphabetical order. So for example, we had A, which is apple, B, banana, and then O, and then the P. So that is how the sorted one works, and that is how the reverse one works. Means it starts from the last in the array, then it goes back that way. So let's look at sorting numeric. So that means sorting numbers. Let's look at how that one works. So instead to have the fruit here, I'm commenting that real quick, then I'll change this into numbers. So let's say this is numbers, so we can have numbers, we don't have to put it in a quote. So let's say we have a 5 here, a 20 here, a 10 here, and then let's say a 50 here. Okay, so we're gonna do the sorting on this one. So what we can do is, I'm commenting all this, what we can do is to simply call the numbers variable which we have at the top. So this variable here, then I apply the sorting to it, which is sort, then I print out this numbers, and numbers is gonna sort out for us. So, or let me see, we have 10, 20, 5, and 500. So we're technically sorting it out. Then we can, so we have 1 coming first, 5, and then 50 coming out. That is how JavaScript sorts out numbers. But let's see, we want to sort a numeric array correctly using compare function. So you see this wasn't really sorting well. It's using the 1 2 here, then it goes the 5 and then the 5. Good. But if we want to sort the numbers correctly, we need to use a sorting compare function. So on this same variable, we can have number.sort, but instead to leave it like that, we can simply add a sort function to it, which is function in here, and then we'll have compare and contrast A and B, which is the parameter. So A and B, and let me look at this function A and B. Then let's have a curly bracket here. Then we say it's gonna compare A, B, and C. So numbers.sort function A that comma B, which is the parameters, should return A minus B, and this one should sort properly. So we still have our numbers. So this was the old one. Let me refresh the page. Now we have 5, 10, 20, and 50. It means it's using this function parameters to compare that it should follow based on alphabetical order, also in the numbers way. But if we do only the sort and apply to it, it's gonna sort out with the first numbers, like 1, 2, 5, and then 5 here, which is 50. But if we use the parameter function and return A minus B, then it's gonna sort out in the rightful way. So this is how we sort out numbers properly in JavaScript. Now let's look at JavaScript finding max and mean value in the array. So we want to look at finding max and mean value. Value. Okay, so how do we do that? Mean and max. So for example, let me add some negative numbers in here, and then let me add add a smaller number here, which is 2. Okay, then we want to find the mean and max. To find the mean and max, we can simply use a function probably find max and find mean. So let's start with find the max one. So we'll have function, and we'll name the function probably find max, and we'll have two of this function. So one will be for finding the max and one will be for finding the mean. So this side, mean here. So since we're gonna find the max and the mean, let's give it a parameter of what? Array. Okay, good. And with the array, we need to return the max function dot max, which means find the maximum dot apply. So all these are methods. So we'll find in the max and then we're applying it to our function, and we can return now or array. Okay, so this is how we find the max of an array. And then for this side, we we'll have a parameter of the same array, and then we'll have the same return, but this time around, instead of max, it's gonna be min here. So min in here, the same apply, and then we have iterator return now or array. So now we're gonna print the first one, which is find max. So gonna return find max here, and max, and the second we will print on the screen the minimum, no, find, and then this one is find min. Okay, so now let's see the output. For the first one, the max is 50, and then the min is -7, because the min is the smallest inside what we have on the screen, and the max is 50 in our variables. So let's say we want to sort an array of objects. An array of objects, so we're gonna have, let me clear everything here, and then we'll start with the objects. So let's say we have an object person. So we have an object persons, and with the persons we're gonna have name of the person, and the name, let's say we have Harry here, and then we'll have age. So age, we're gonna have like 12 here. Okay, so the person have a name, Harry, and then the age. Now we're gonna have another person here, and then the age of 14. Let's have another person, and then age of what? 48. Okay, so now we have a person, which is an object. So we want to sort this object by age. How would we do that? Simply, we need to, okay, let me say sort by age. Simply, we can call the persons, which is the object's name, then we could do dot sort. Okay, and we need to sort it, for the alphabetical order. So we say function, and then we have A and B. So just like what we did for the first one, then we're gonna have to return A dot age minus B dot what age. Okay, so this should sort the ages for us, but before that, let me do console.log. Okay, so console.log, because we need to actually show it in the screen or in the log. So let's do the log, and then we print the person. Okay, so let's run this, and then we inspect our page to see console.log. We see our console, and then we see how many arrays are we printing here. We have 1, 2, 3. So the length of the array is 3. So we are printing all these 3 inside our application, but we are printing it inside the console. So what if we want to sort by name? So to sort by name, we can simply copy this, This is sort by name, and instead to use age, we can change that to what? To name. Very simple, huh? But for this, why don't we do some comparison here? But for now, let's say name. Okay, then we have this also returning true. So we can have this one converted to a lowercase. That is the names. We can convert all the names into a lowercase whilst we are also sorting. So for example, if we wanna sort by name, what we have to do is to make sure the cases are also all equal, because we need to match the same cases with the names and to sort it out with others. So for example, if we have function AB, we can say let x be equal to a dot name dot to lower case. So it's gonna change everything here into lowercase. Since we have the upper, we have big letters, for example HEM, this will convert all into smaller letters. So then we can have the B, which we have there, be also converted into a lowercase. So this one will be a Y, and then here will be a B. Okay, so now we will perform a simple if statement on this. So we say if x is greater than y, if x is greater than y, return -1. And then we'll have another if y is greater than x. So we said if x is greater than y. Here if y, no, let's do if x is greater than y to here. So here should be less. If x is less than y, then return -1. Okay, then we said if x is greater than y, then return 1. Okay, and you have to make sure everything is equal in order to do a proper sorting. So with this one, we will say then return 0, then return 0. So what we'll check here is to see, let me see what we got here, and then okay, so now we still have all the length and array coming out clearly. Now what we can do is we can look through this person first before we print it out. So let's say here we want to loop through all the elements that we have at the top there, all the elements in the array. Okay, so to loop through that, we'll use the for statement. So let I in persons, I in persons, I in person, and for let prop in persons be I here. Then after that, we need to print out what we display into the screen. So we'll have document dot write, then we have this one, which is the prop. Then let's have some concatenations here. Okay, and we'll have, then we'll say we have another space here. So persons, I, and then the prop here too. Then we'll have some break here. Okay, so what we did was to look through all the elements in the array, and then first return the name, and then what? Return the age. So we return the name Ellie for, and then age 14, Harry 12, and then Mary 48. So this is how we can easily sort by age, and then here we could sort by name. And to sort by name, you need to also convert it to a lowercase. Instead of lowercase, you can simply do to lowercase as well. That one should also work perfectly. To lowercase and also to lowercase. That one will also work fine. So we're converting that to lowercase and then comparing or sorting by the name. And we can use this to compare and contrast. If this x is less than this, return -1. If this is greater than this, the y, then return 1, or return 0 for all. Then we look through to see if I in persons, this is a nested for, then let properties in person show what is stored inside I. Then we have, the variable prop here, and then a concatenation of returning of I and prop inside our browser. That's why we have name and then age there. So this is what we have to learn with mean value, max value in JavaScript, dealing with objects using the sort, and then looping through the whole sorting.